Hi, my name is Abigail, and you're welcome to the Business English section of Come on the Go. Today we'll be paying attention to email communication, actually taking the concluding part of email communication. Last week we talked about how to use the CC and the BCC fields. Today we'll be talking about the subject and the content fields. Now before we talk about the subject field, let's pay attention to the content field. This is basically because what you would write on the subject line is function of what is contained on the content field. So what are the various parts of the content field? What goes in there? Well, you have the salutation, the body, and the conclusion. Salutation, body, and conclusion. Now, how do you salute? How do you greet? There is nothing wrong with using hello when you're starting an email communication. In fact, it's like standard practice to use hello. There's really no need to be more formal than that. But if you choose to be, fine, you may have your reasons. But averagely, yeah, there's nothing wrong with using hello to start your communication. Now, hello who? That's a big issue when it comes to email communication. How do you address the person to whom the email is going? Right at the body of, right at the content of the email. How do you address the person? The title is important, especially in this part of the world. People take their titles very seriously. So if the person is a doctor, a professor, or whatever title he has, then you better use it. Use the title plus surname. Always better to use the title plus surname. If you do not know what the person's surname is, then you may use the first name, but usually you should go with title plus surname. Alright? And then for ladies, be a little careful. Be a little careful with ladies because some people just take it for granted. Okay, this person must be married, and they say Mrs. Or maybe she isn't married, she looks a little young, and then you use Miss. Please do not do that. It's better to use the title MS, which is pronounced Ms. Use the title MS for women. MS plus first name or surname, depending on which you know. If you know the surname, MS plus surname, Ms. surname, or you use Ms. first name. Better to do that for women. Do not just drop a person's name without the title on the salutation. Don't just say, hello Abigail, especially if we have never exchanged an email before. Use my surname, hello Ms. Anaba, better. Do not go, hello Abigail. Or you could say, hello Ms. Abigail, that's still understandable. But do not go, hello Abigail, without my giving you the authorization. And how would I give you the authorization? When I end my email to you, the way I sign off would actually be the way you would address me in the next email. For instance, if you have said, hello Ms. Anaba, at the first email, and then I sign off as Abigail, what I'm telling you is go ahead and use my first name when you're addressing me next time. So that should be a pointer. When you are signing off on an email, make use of the name form that you want the other person to address you with. But if it's a fresh email, stick to the formality of using the person's title plus surname. All right? So that's for salutation. We now move on to the body. What goes into the body of the email? It's always important for you to watch to be sure that you have written the right content for an email by checking the 5 W's and H. What are the 5 W's and H? Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Have you been able to answer these questions in the email, especially the why? If you do not have a clear why for your email, then it means you shouldn't send it. If you do not have a clear why, do not send the email. Now you've been able to look at the 5 W's and H and you have it correct. Now what else should you check? Check for spelling and punctuation. Please, I would really advise that you avoid SMS speak. Do not use contractions. Do not use SMS speak, all the short forms, L8R for later, or there's this one I usually see, PFA, please find attached. Do not use such things in an email. It's not the best. Write clearly, write distinctly, make your English clear and straight to the point. And also do not beat around the bush. Whatever that email is for, go straight to the point. For instance, do not start your email and say, hello, I am writing, hello, how are you today? How is your family? All those things are not necessary. Go straight to the point. Hello, I'm writing because, and then you go straight to why you're writing. Okay, and then one other thing to note, if your email exceeds 100 words, please break it into paragraphs. If your email exceeds 100 words, break into paragraphs. No one wants to see a wall of text. It's not easy on the eye, and may not be easy to read either. If you just have your email as one full wall of text, break into paragraphs. For each item that you're going to discuss, for each section of the email you're sending, use a paragraph. Even if the section is just one sentence, it's better you break into paragraphs than to have a wall of text. Now let's look at the conclusion. It's okay to conclude your email as informally as you began. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying take care or cheers at the end of the email. It's just fine to conclude that way. Now, after the conclusions, then we go back to the subject line. Now, the subject line is just a summary of everything that you've written in the content in a sentence or a word. Take note that the content should be written like a title. I mean, if you've read in a book and they say a title says 1,000 things, the title of the book tells you everything that you need to know about the book. So the subject line should also say the same. Make it punchy, make it straight to the point, make it a sentence that conveys the entire thought that is contained in your email. Now, just before we go, let's take a look at this expression. I've been asked a number of times, is it okay to use revert to mean reply in email communication? Now, before I answer that question, let me briefly say something about how English language works. There are certain words that ordinarily do not have a particular meaning in English, but when it's used over time with that meaning, it's adopted. Now, revert is one of those words. Clearly, the word in most dictionaries you check would mean to go back to a former state, and it's a word that is used in legal circles a lot. But these days, especially among Asians, and you can imagine the whole lot of Asian population making use of the meaning of the word in a particular way. Most people use reverts to mean to respond and reply. Therefore, over time, because of its usage, right now, revert can actually be used to mean to respond. And that meaning has crept into dictionaries. If you check the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary 8th edition, you find the meaning of revert in that dictionary. One of the meanings to be to reply. And if you're one of those who are thinking, okay, we may use revert, but we cannot use revert back, sorry, the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary also lists that as one of the ways in which it can be used. So you can say revert back, you can say revert to mean respond. Well, that's it on the Business English section of Come on the Go today. Don't forget, join me again next week when we continue. We continue, that's what we do. We continue on this voyage of discovery as far as business English is concerned. Join me again.